You often hear you're the sum of your habits, and habits can be good things like regularly flossing your teeth and also regularly exercising, but I also feel that they're often associated with negative repeated actions, like having the habit of going on your phone first thing in the morning, running home after a night out and skipping the cab ride entirely to get some cool dad lore. Actually wait, that one might be a good habit, but you get the point. So this year I've set myself on a mission, and I'm going to change the meaning of habit for me, and I'm going to get my stuff together. And what better way to dive straight into these habits and incorporate them into my routine to better myself than to document it on YouTube for you guys. So with that said, these are the habits that I'm going to be incorporating into my routine this year, and here's also how you can level up in 2025 with me. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. What do you think the most common good habit is that you'll come across when doing research online? I'll give you guys a second. Now, if you guys guessed waking up early, then you would probably be right, but there's only one problem. I'm a night owl. Like fully. Well, here goes nothing. Right, here we are. Let me recap for you guys my day one experience of waking up, of what I consider early, because I know there's some of you out there who wake up at 5 a.m., maybe 4:30, or even 6 a.m. Now you'll hear that the benefits of waking up early are endless, and honestly, reading some of them, they seem exaggerated. But as someone who's going to be doing this routine for the next week or so, and then hopefully continue it after that, I'm going to be telling you guys what I think of these benefits, and also the ones that I've experienced during this challenge. So we're going to be putting them through the test. Now the first benefit that makes sense and that you'll hear about is that you'll have significantly more time on your hands to do the stuff you want or need. I've also heard that it helps you maintain a more regular schedule. So by that, I mean when you wake up early, it's more likely that you're going to be tired in the evening. So it's going to help you wind down and you're going to get tired easier. And therefore, this should also help you have an easier time getting to sleep. And then as a result of this, it's touted that overall you should be feeling good because you'll be more productive. And then, it should be a cycle from there. Now, what about the benefits that I felt? And it's only the first day, but still, what have I felt benefit-wise from this first day? Now, today wasn't actually too bad for me. I'm surprised that the motivation stayed from the night before, because it usually, it doesn't. And it was also quite weird waking up voluntarily before it was light outside, because usually that's what signifies you to wake up. But in this case, I'd say it was quite peaceful. I was able to get my workout in. I felt good during it, not too tired, or at least less than I thought I would be. And then here we are. It's around a little bit after midday, and I do feel like I've hit quite a bit of a roadblock. But because the nap I so eagerly want is unfortunately not on the plan for the routine, I'm gonna have to think on my toes, but I think I have an idea, and this leads me on great to habit number 2, nutrition, which is perfect because I'm actually in the kitchen right now. Now, mom's cooking is nice. Of course it will be, as you don't have to make the meal, but sometimes it lacks a little certain je ne sais quoi. And by je ne sais quoi, I mean a lot in the protein department, which actually can be fine, but it depends on what your fitness and goals are in that sense. And a similar sort of idea goes for ordering food constantly instead of having to go out to the shop and actually cook it yourself. But I guess obviously you don't want to have to go get the food, make it, and then have to clean up as well. I mean, it's easy and I like to do it, but I'm trying to prove to myself that planned nutrition and going out having to get the food and cook it and also maybe clean up isn't as hard as I, would like to think, and that it can also taste good and be the right option. And not only that, it also helps make you a better cook, which, trust me, as someone new to the intermediate field of cooking, it's a very valuable skill to have. It could also help you tap into another creative side, and then eventually you could become one of those Instagram food bloggers, which kind of seems like the ultimate job. But on top of that, of course, it will make you look your best and also feel your best if you're cooking well and good food. And you know what? Throughout this journey, you may even find that you like to do it. I don't know if that's convincing myself or I'm manifesting, but let's find out. Now for this challenge, I'm not following any specific meal plan routine, but the goal is to get the veg in, the protein, and also make good meals. And I have no doubt that the hardest part, or at least one of the hardest parts of this nutrition planning and having good habits, is definitely going to be minimizing sugar and snacking. I mean, just check this out, and this is in my point of view, so I'm gonna have to hide this, which I truly feel is probably one of the main things stopping me from getting that goal physique. So for day 2, this was my breakfast. And breakfast is honestly, in my opinion, the best meal. And for it to be the best meal, it has to be the best meal, if you know what I mean. So therefore, I'm going to keep things fairly consistent with breakfast and leave the experimenting and trying all the new recipes for the evening time. Now, even though it's only been 2 days, something that I've noticed is I'm spending a lot less time food shopping now that I have this planned nutrition in my head. I'll walk into the store, know exactly where everything is, what I want, and I don't have to cruise around the aisles and pick up stuff that I don't actually need. Granted, I probably do spend an extra 10 or 15 minutes in the kitchen preparing the food because it is fresh. But because I'm waking up a lot earlier, I'm able to get things done earlier, so I don't have any real duties I need to fulfill in the evening. And also, I find it quite therapeutic too, so it's sort of a win-win. Now, you may be asking, is it not such a hassle to be more conscious just and also plan your nutrition. Also, it may take more time, and also at the end of the day, will it take the fun out of it? Because I love to snack. So what I've done is I've taken a balanced approach. I'll take an example from the other day. Now, in the morning, sometimes I like to have pancakes, but the only thing is pancakes aren't exactly the healthiest thing for you. Now, occasionally it's fine, obviously, but in the case that I do want pancakes and I don't really want to have the super unhealthy ones, what I will do is I'll find alternatives, and by that I mean protein pancakes, and those are nutritious. They give me some protein and they also taste good as well. So therefore, it's kind of the best of both worlds. You get to have the food that you want while also not compromising too much on the nutrition. And I also feel this approach is more sustainable for me, especially in the long term, because that's what's going to matter. But now let's talk about what the benefits are, and also the benefits tout that they're not only for your physique as well. So being a skincare channel, you obviously know that we're going to be probably talking about skin. So let's get into it. So like I said, the benefits are not only for your physique in terms of having planned nutrition and more or less following a routine to keep you on track for your goals, but also for your skin. Because it's been proving that having a high GI diet, which involves the food that you think are the less healthy options, so for example, cakes, donuts, white bread, white rice, these are more likely to lead to a worse skin appearance and affect your skin. So if you have acne, this could mean new breakouts and acne appearing on your face. So it's also another reason to be more mindful about what you're eating, snacking on, and that sort of stuff. Therefore, the foods I'll be prioritizing for the challenge are things such as beans, chickpeas, tofu, protein powder, obviously for protein, and of course getting some veg in there as well. And side note, with some good portions, as you'll probably be able to see from the breakfast yesterday as well as the dinner and the breakfast today. But so you guys know, I'm having 2 meals a day, and I'm gonna be having heavier meals for those, and then in between those I'm gonna have a protein drink. And I just think it works better for me anyway, and my routine and my schedule. Now, if you're going to feel good from all these other habits, then you've got to look good in terms of style. And I think the most important thing for me, and in general, when it comes to style, is to putting in the effort. Like me, I'm sure a lot of you guys have clothes in your wardrobe for when you were a kid. Any Star Wars, SpongeBob, or Lego shirts went hard though. But also, tell me when the last time these were in style, and also, I mean, even if they'd fit. So this is where I renovate. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to be choosing 5 articles of clothing that I no longer wear and I don't think suit me or even fit me, donate them to friends, family, or even to charity. And then I'm going to be prioritizing my capsule wardrobe. Well, improve my capsule wardrobe by investing and prioritizing a blend of good quality, basics, and a few fun pieces here and there. Sort of like this jacket. Doing this is also supposed to free up a ton of space, making it easier to choose outfits in the morning when you don't really want to be thinking about a lot of stuff and just get going. Sort of like for the people who went to school or go to school in the UK, you have to wear a uniform. So it's super easy and you know what you're going to wear and there's no hassle with getting ready. So, well, how do you put this into practice? Now, the other day I was actually scrolling through Depop and something caught my eye and I thought, what better way to use as an example and also invest in a quality garment than now? And it's this green sweater. Quite simple, and it has some minor navy details on the elbows here. But essentially the seller said they bought it in Italy and it is also a mix of cashmere, wool, silk, and some other material. But it's very soft and basic and perfect for this time of year. I'm also making an effort to wear more of my clothes. I've got a whole wardrobe here and I end up wearing just the same 2 to 3 outfits and it ends up feeling habitual instead of an expression of my swag. Yep, I did say swag. We're bringing that back. So I'm going to try and make myself get a little bit more creative and wear most of the clothes I have in my wardrobe. And your style is a reflection of you. You never know who you'll meet or also what can happen. And as we all know, the day where you've got either your laziest fit on or your worst fit on is a day that you'll likely be running into someone you don't want to run into wearing the outfit you're currently wearing. Right, so I was thinking, if I'm going to be improving my health, I feel it's only right logically if I also stay on top of all other care. So a little backstory. Over the past few months, unfortunately, when I get out of the shower, I notice these little strands of hair on my back and shoulders, and they're tiny ones as well, just single individual ones, and I don't like the look of them. And side note, I feel like they're just mirroring the hair that grows on my scalp. So I've shaved these and the next thing you know, I come out of the shower one day and I spot them again, and some ones that I didn't spot before. So therefore, I tried to get them again. So in my mind, the next step was to try hair removal cream or waxing. Now, my skin is quite sensitive, so these did leave my skin red and irritated. And plus, with waxing, they can also perpetuate ingrown hair. So I did notice quite a few ingrown hairs after waxing. Plus, it ends up growing back as well. So these weren't what I was looking for. And at this point, I was like, okay, well, what do I do now? But then it struck me one day and I thought about getting laser hair removal. But the thing is with this, I'd have to go all the way to a clinic and then also do multiple sessions as well so the hair wouldn't return. And then this would add up in cost as well. Which leads me to today. And thanks to this video sponsor, I found my solution. And though this looks like a futuristic hairdryer, this is the Dermrace at-home laser hair removal device, which helps me, number one, remove these obnoxious strands of hair that have been showing up on my shoulders and back. And number two, most importantly for buying a device like this in my mind, is down the line, which I know will inevitably happen, if there's any other hairs that come up and I don't want them, then I can also use this device to permanently remove those as well. And on top of this, here's why you may want to consider using this as well. Unlike IPL, which is the technology that a lot of other hair removal devices will use, the Dermrace uses a diode laser, making sure that the laser is focused and direct on where you want to remove your hair. And as a result, this means fewer treatments and faster results. It's also less effective because it doesn't work as well on darker skin tones and also on finer hair as well, and that's because the energy isn't as concentrated. The 810 nanometer wavelength laser is tuned to target the melanin in your hair follicles, and this means it goes deep into the root for precise results. So like I was saying, specifically direct with a laser. This diode disables the hair follicles, so therefore you won't get any more hair growth, but also it doesn't affect and harm the surrounding skin. FDA approved and no goggles are needed. If you were to get your phone out and time yourself, how long would it take to remove all these hairs? They can be stray hairs or just regular hairs. You could do it in around 15 minutes by yourself. Second to last, 82% hair reduction in 8 weeks. There's also a 2-year warranty and a 90-day money-back guarantee. So stop chasing new growth with temporary methods and choose the Dermrace V8S, which is built to last with up to 30 million flashes. Maybe wondering how I got here. Well, someone who is used to waking up at 9 or even 9:30 in the middle of the week can suddenly wake up at 6:30 consistently and actually get up. Well, let me fill you in on the secret. Over the past 2 and a bit weeks, I've been gradually setting my alarm 10 minutes earlier every couple of days, and then eventually today or last night, I just set it at from 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And well, here I am now. I also believe that if you want to do something, then eventually you will end up doing it. And for me, this camera is helping me stay accountable. And you know, at the end of the day, a little Goggins on the feed goes a long way. Alright, here we are. It's the end of the habit challenge that I set myself for this week. And did I complete it? And what are my thoughts on it? So as you guys saw, day 1 actually wasn't that much of a challenge, or at least not as much as I thought it would be. Day 2 had it in for me. There's a couple reasons why this could be. Maybe it was I didn't get enough sleep. Maybe it was I went to sleep at a different time than I went to sleep the day before. Or it's just, you know, by chance I just didn't feel the best. But I noticed that I had a harder time waking up on day 2. And also when I was at the gym, I wasn't able to push myself as much and I found myself quite tired. But that changed when it came to day 3. Because day 3, it was one of the hardest days to get up. I really didn't want to get up. But obviously I knew that I was doing this challenge and that if I quit on day 2, that would be a bit embarrassing. So I had to get up and I forced myself, but when I did and I got to the gym, it was probably one of the most energizing days I had there, and I felt the best throughout the day, which I was happy about because from the start, it didn't seem like it was going to be the best day in terms of energy and productiveness and all that, but it turned out to be the complete opposite, and it was one of the best days. Now, how about the evening? So, well, my expectations were a few things. Number one, it was either I was going to be a lot more tired in the evening, I was just going to want to nap and go to sleep a lot earlier. Well, actually, the other side of me had no idea how the evening was going to go. It was up to chance, really. So when it came to the evenings, even though I would have cooked dinner and done maybe some more work, some emails, and some editing, I noticed that I wasn't actually as tired, maybe even less tired than I would have been if I would have woken up late, which sounds kind of weird, but because the day was so productive, maybe that energy and that like lifted me up and stuff. But either way, I was less stressed because in the evenings, I usually stress about I haven't done enough work that day. So in this case, I felt good and I was able to get stuff done and go to sleep at a reasonable time and get enough sleep. But one of the toughest parts that I could imagine if you wanted to incorporate this into your routine is that when you wake up, you have to have something to do. Now, in my case, that was the gym. For you, it depends on what you need to do or what you want to do. Now, hopefully, as time goes on, I won't need to have something to do in the morning and I can just wake up and get to work. But as I'm slowly integrating it into my life, it's definitely useful that I have the gym to go to. This was the area that I thought I was going to be the most confident on, and I thought it was going to be a breeze. But actually, it turned out to be one of the hardest parts, and I'll tell you why. Because I always wanted to snack on the most random things throughout the day. And it always seemed to be sweet as well. And it's not even like I should have been hungry, because these cravings came after breakfast. And you guys saw my breakfast. So I come to the conclusion that it could have been boredom, but also at the same time, I don't know. However, this is where my snack plan, still making sure that the food is nutritious, really pulled through. And by that, through means of my protein shake. And I really noticed that this helped a lot. I noticed that the meals I was eating were healthier and fresher. And because of the luxury of time I had from waking up early, I decided to experiment a little bit with some new recipes. And in that case, I feel like I am one step closer to becoming the intermediate version of the master chef. Or let's say the kids version. So, as long as you have an idea roughly of what you want throughout the week, and you can do this in 1 or 2 shops, and also an idea of what your goals are, and that you need macros wise for this, then you'll do swell. Also, side note, the easy recipes that you can either look up or find like across your feed on TikTok and Instagram came in clutch, and I ended up mostly going with their pasta recipes, but you can have a look. There's a variety of them, so have a look at those if you need inspiration. If you're looking for style inspiration and you don't quite know what you want, but you know when you see it, trust me, this makes sense, then I found that TikTok and Instagram are quite good at showing you stuff, and the explore page or even people you're following when it comes to this, but also Pinterest is on top. Off the top of my head, I can't think of another app or website that has such a selection of curated aesthetic, anything you want really, other than Pinterest. Now, this idea of refining and also finding new inspiration for my style is something that I will actively be thinking about, but I also want it to be sort of in the back of my mind and take it as it comes, because I've never really been the person to say, I want to do summer shopping or I want to do winter shopping. And I also find that when I see something I like, then I'll know. Other than that, I'm not really going to go out of my way too much to find something. So yeah, I think generally the idea of following a capsule wardrobe makes it a lot easier to pick up and choose a stylish outfit, and also saves a lot of time in the process as well, because you don't really have an overload of options. I'm mainly speaking of myself, but I'm sure this is a relatable experience for some of you guys. Instead of writing down your goals for the next year and maybe thinking, oh, I have this many 100 days left to complete this, or oh, I have this many months left, it's more effective in my mind to break your goals into a period of weeks or even months, let's say, because it's 51 weeks in a year. And so this gives you 51 opportunities to complete multiple things that you wouldn't have otherwise completed, or that otherwise maybe would have seemed too much if you only have them under a yearly plan. And also, this is what I'm going to be doing going forward and what I've realized throughout during this little challenge. And if you're asking yourself, will I be incorporating these habits into my life without the camera being here? And well, let's just say, only time will tell, but over these past few days, I think the case is quite clear that I have been doing these even without the camera rolling. And if it's the case that you'll be joining me on this and incorporating these into your habit routine, then we'll enjoy it together. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.